Cheers, Em. That was brilliant. Bloody hell. Right, guys, here we go.
This is like peak adult moment for me. I think I've ever felt more like a grown up in my life.
Before you arrived, before we started rolling, we said, this could be the moment in which because you're quite private. You're a private-ish profile on Instagram, collector. This could be the moment that you celebrate your love. In fact, what is it? It's your moment to celebrate your love of watches publicly. You're coming out moment.
It's my coming out. Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I call it. We're coming out, okay. Maybe it is. I'm ready for it now. I feel fine about it. Maybe I've got past that sort of... Originally, the Instagram was like, I just wanted somewhere to... I remember I worked away. I was a management consultant in the previous life, and just like in a hotel Monday to Thursday, and I finally got some money. So I was still wearing a watch my nan gave me at the time, like a couple £100 watch. And I loved it. It was awesome. But I was like getting deep into what do I want to do with this money? Yeah. And I remember being late. I was in Chippenham, of all places, nothing going on. And I started this Instagram account, and I started just writing about. I got really into older Calatravas, and like going right back to the original Calatrava. And that was I've deleted all that now, but that was just like me nerding out.
By the way, guys, just to say, if you want to follow him, the account is a diary of a secret diary of a watch girl.
Yeah.
Just Yeah.
And
the funny thing is, I didn't recognise you, didn't know you, because you don't put your face up, so I didn't know who you were. And then we met at Watches Wonders at the IWC booth, and you were wearing your titanium Ingenieur.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
And it looked fantastic. It really looked fantastic. Yeah, that was like the moment that it was like a fly just coming to the light, the moth to the light.
Yeah, that's so true.
But going back to the beginning then, because I think I'm curious to know what it was that really got you into this. Was it did a family member actually wear a watch growing up that you loved, or did you see a watch that you fell in love with early on?
No, so I have like the probably most boring origin story to watches. It wasn't, nobody passed on a passion. You
didn't get that Patek from a grandmother or a grandfather, that Calatrava. You didn't get that Calatrava.
No, no watches were passed down in the making of this watch addicts. I literally got to about 4.
It's completely fresh.
Yeah, totally, completely. I mean, I'm a complete and utter nerd in most facets of my life. So I think I just hadn't found that tick. And then this guy in my school had what I later found out wasn't. Well, anyway, he had a watch. I got really into it. And then I used to go, this is a genuinely true story, and I actually recently dug out the emails and the books and whatever. So at 13, 14, and I used to go from Manchester to Watch of Switzerland or just basically anywhere and sit there, sometimes in my school uniform. I'd get the bus after school and say, hey, look, I just want to learn. And they were awesome. This one woman, and she would give me all the books. I have all the sort of, some stuff from the Patek Philippe exhibition at the Saatchi Gallery in 2000. I can't remember what year. Still have it all, and they were awesome. She would respond to my emails, and really get nerdy with me. And they knew that I wasn't buying anything. Obviously,
were you coming at it for a love of design or an engineering perspective? Because
they're pretty abstract on you here. So this is not necessarily why now, but at the time, it blew my mind. Why do we care? What is it that makes somebody go, "I'm wearing a Rolex. I'm wearing a Patek Philippe. I'm." Who cares, really? Who cares? And I maybe sort of ventured on this world through, I really wanted do you remember I can't remember which Bond film it was, but it had these Seamaster with the orange strap. And that was like when I was like, okay, there's like a world outside of Rolex. And I started to get into it. So it started out to be like, why should I care? What's this obsession with time? And then I discovered the Clockmakers of London. Yeah. Which I'm a member of.
The worshipful
Clockmakers of London.
I can never understand that.
That is the level of
You must bring the average age down there by about 30 years, though.
Just like
you must do.
Going to those dinners they're awesome, by the way, like totally awesome.
I've always been tempted. I've been to one years and years ago, but I've always been tempted to sign up for membership because I've never really known what it is you're signing up for, or what.
Well, let me give you a quick insight into that. So I became a member during lockdown, and so I turned up for this dinner. It's black tie. Went with a friend who sort of recommended me in. And I've never seen a Roger Smith in my life. I've never seen a George Daniels in my life. Never really been exposed to sort of real high end, but also kind of unique. You have to be a certain kind of watch collector to care. And I sat down at this dinner, and the table next to me, I think there were 5 or 6 George Daniels, different varieties, a couple of Roger Smiths. I went over and asked the master if I could see his watch because he was wearing, oh my gosh, the name's totally slipped my mind. Charles Frodsham.
Charles Frodsham, yeah.
An impulse chronometer.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I've never heard of Charles Frodsham before. But people on my table are telling me I have to see this watch. So I'm like, look, I just want to know. He pulls off this 150k watch, which is not even that. They're just hard to get. There's, they're limited production. Richard.
That white enamel dial. Was it porcelain? I think it's actually porcelain.
Porcelain dial, yeah. That's one version of it. Pulls it off. Literally says, he doesn't know me.
Just
take it. You're the new girl, Emily, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, just go back to your table. I'll come and grab it later. So I'm walking with this board, like one end of the hall to the other. Like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Like, well, I'm going to drop it, and everyone's going to hate me. And I sat down, and everyone at this table, who are all themselves, I'm the only one there that's really an enthusiast. Everyone was actually like, a clockmaker. I was like, how? Like, how have you got this watch? He was getting passed around, and everyone was really excited. And a couple of weeks later, I went over and saw them, and for me, like that was like kind of encompasses what I love now, which is the people that do it for the love, right? And it's the people. And I know that sounds really trite, but it's actually the learning of other people and those moments where you go, oh, it just keeps going, and people are nerdier than you and super accepting, and like, yeah, it was just a really cool moment. So that's kind of how the sort of like journey's gone from, hey, what is this thing, to I love the fact that, you can reel off reference numbers with someone who's a Patek fan and they'll correct you. But
you were saying actually the challenge is a lot of friends and family don't fully understand it. So for us to be able to get together to nerd out a bit is okay. It's accepted in these four walls. Yeah. Interesting though, you've always had a focus, at least from what I can see, on IWC.
Sure.
We're going to do 2 watches today.
Yeah.
But you might have a third potentially on the wrist. Or have you got 2? Have you bought just 2? Or
I've got the other edition. I'll just grab the box.
Okay. So there's 2 in there.
Yeah.
There's 2 in there and there's one on the wrist. Cool. We initially said, hey, we could have loads of watches.
Yeah.
And for a lot of guests, that's the challenge is editing it and curating it down to 2.
Sure.
What have you gone for? I mean, there's a giveaway. There's a slight giveaway. The fact that the woman rocked up with this. I've never seen that. Is that the travel? This is the new box that comes with a new watch, right? That you can have your smaller travel box.
Exactly. Yeah. So I usually keep all my IWCs in here, but then you sort of move around with watches and. Like I said, I go visit family and I try not to keep them all in one place. But anyway, so what have I brought? So I brought my 2. I wish I had the 5002, but I don't.
Yes.
My 2 favourite, or maybe most recent purchases from IWC, that when I made them, the feeling when you buy a watch and it's the coolest thing because you're in the environment, right? You're in the luxury environment. You're drinking the champagne, or Bond Street are awesome. Get the 16-year-old Scotch out, which is more my vibe. And like everyone around you telling how beautiful it is. You've maybe wanted it for years, months, whatever. And that sense of euphoria doesn't always last. You maybe get a week later and it's just another watch in your box, or it's, should I really have spent that money? Because it's a significant amount of money, even though I think collectors numb themselves to that.
Totally.
It's a significant amount of money. And I'm really working through something at the moment, which is, do I like it or do I want to own it? And I think they are so different. And I have 100%, or near enough 100%, fallen victim of, I just like it, but it doesn't mean I need to own it. And then what happens is you just sort of leave and it becomes another watch and you're immediately lusting for something else. Yeah. That wasn't the case with these 2. I didn't feel the sort of a drop. I didn't feel the, okay, like what next? And they're 2 very different watches. I got the first one is and I mentioned that the first watch that I fell in love with, or the contemporary watch, was the Mojave PPC. Yeah. This is the Mojave chronograph, which at the time didn't exist. And then Ludo didn't outwardly say, but I said, look, I'm going to buy one chronograph, just one. I'm not really a chronograph person. That's never changed, but so I'm going to buy one. Maybe I'll buy the Lake Tahoe.
It came out as a limited edition, as a 44mm limited edition, but we're now talking about a 41.
41, exactly. It came out when.
Go on, get her up.
All right, okay.
Don't tease.
Let's go. Not that one. So.
There she is.
There she is.
41mm.
Yeah. It's 41.
Mojave, look at that case.
It's cool,
Look at that case.
The colour is
incredibly
cool.
And the contrast on the pushes as well for me. To the touch, amazing as well.
Yeah.
But some people don't talk about very often is the
feels so good.
The touch, yeah, it feels so good.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. But at the time, it didn't exist.
Didn't exist. So he was giving you some cheeky inside line.
Because I was going to buy because I also really love the Lake Tahoe. I think it's really cool, but that's the 44. Mm-hmm. And I tried it on, and something I got to credit him to. He could tell I wasn't 100%. So actually, I might have bought the Lake Tahoe, and you know, whatever.
Man. Great man.
But then,
sorry, you mind if I put it on?
Oh my gosh!
You can tell. You know when you do love a watch, you don't even think about it, and you put it on, and that's the salesperson's dream. When you're wearing it, all they care about, I feel like the sales approach is just sit back and say nothing. But if it goes on their wrist, just let them just keep it. Let them.
Don't take it out. 100%.
But you know what? 41. It's hard to argue with that.
Right?
It is hard to argue with that.
41.9 IWC, which is 42.
41.9. I'm furious about it. Hope Chris Granger, the CEO, is watching. Oh, wow.
But it's cool, right?
It is good. It is so good. Nothing like it. Nothing else out there like it.
And if we want to go back to it, like, why is this cool? Like, where do you want me to start? Number one, it's wearable, which IWC, by the way, I don't think they should ever come away from their big watches. I think that's their DNA, and it's amazing. But a riff off of it is cool. Kind of like the 43 Big Pilot.
And it's still got that DNA to it.
Exactly.
It's all there.
Right?
It's all there.
Like I said, I'm a little history nerd. I love to watch Top Gun 2, probably my favourite film of all time.
Yeah.
Perfect. Controversial to all of my friends who are somewhat cultured.
But it was better than the first. I mean, I'm terrible at movie stuff. I'm terrible. But for me, it felt like it was better. That's controversial.
So
better than the first.
It's incredible.
Which never happens normally. The sequel's never as good as the...
Exactly.
You didn't get the pocket watch? You didn't buy the pocket watch?
No, so I got offered that actually in Geneva, but I didn't at the time. Again, I'm really trying to... Cool, it was in the film and whatever, but I'm really trying to just stick to the things
you're dialed in. You're trying to be dialed in.
I'm trying to be. Justin,
No, it's not easy.
Got a bunch of watches. I mean, I'm in the middle of a bit of a shake-up at the moment on some older stuff, which is fun, and I'm kind of letting go of the person that I became, the collector I became, once I could buy things. I think I got the Reverso, and that was the purist in me. And my cash it's still limited now, but like, you know, as time goes on, you maybe have more. And I look back at some things I bought, and I think, like, did I buy that for me, or did I buy that to say I could get it? Because I wanted the thrill, because everyone else seemed to have it. And they're the ones where you kind of look at it after and I don't feel good about myself. Like, I don't like that. It's not me. So the IWC's not.
I've been wrestling with something very similar. I don't think that ever goes away. For me, it's actually been about size. It's always about size. Brit, the right spot. Me and my headspace around size is the biggest issue. But it's so true that you can question whether you bought it for yourself or whether you bought it for others, or what are the motives and why. And I just find if it's something you're wearing a lot and getting joy from every time, then that's a good sign.
100%.
I mean, look, these are like anything, right? It's like a partner, or it's like a great jacket. It's like anything. Are you actually enjoying that time or not? And we convince ourselves otherwise. We 100%. Sell things to ourselves internally.
Right?
But you're wearing that, and
this is like a battered strap.
I can see you've got stuck in there.
It's this like...
Amazingly with the case, because it's ceramic, you would never know that it looks as good as it did the day it came off.
I actually had a mark on it a few weeks ago, like a big black mark down the side. I was like, oh my God, I've broken an unbreakable watch.
And that's the material transfering onto the ceramic, right? So it can come off, I
didn't realise, so I'm running in, it's like, help! And then like, 1 minute, well, now I feel stupid.
Luna just
exactly, 100%. A little bit, but that's what I love about this. The story behind this one. I got the white dial and Genoa first before this, but these are the two that, like I said, I had that feeling about. So. The thing with this, again, it's cool. I do think the Top Gun thing it's awesome. It's nerdy. It's fun. It's playful. It's
the connection, the link.
Yeah. It's super playful. Maybe to some people it's cheap or it's gauche or whatever. But to me, as a collector, I think that's really cool. And I also love when you see the limiteds that come out. Not even commercially available. The ones for like
made for the pilots,
the French fighter school or whatever. And, like,
and IWC doesn't scream and shout about that. Whereas some brands I've seen where they are very celebratory of those connections, but actually IWC keeps it a bit like Tudor. Tudor keeps it quite quiet as well. Actually, with the Black Bay, they do that.
100%. There is something in that, I think, that's really cool. And then I actually really like the Black Aces, the 41, the Lume dial.
The whole Lume dial, yeah.
I'm still thinking about that.
We were looking at the Jean earlier, the Elegant, and that's one thing that I notice is that Lume dial is
so good.
So good.
So good.
It's really quite enjoyable actually to wear as well. Sometimes
I might steal
having it
at
night to be able to have something you can see, not just the hands, because sometimes the hands are really badly lumed, and so
this is true.
On some watches you can't really actually read the time anyway. So a whole Lume dial, I think that's one of the big trends we're seeing right now. Is a full Lume. Bell and Ross have done it. Restaurants have got a diver coming out. Well, they've got a diver coming out with that, and that. Brand. So
great.
Ace is cool.
And on the lower end, or maybe the more sort of entry level end, Studio Underdog. They're doing some cool. I run a lot of respect for the brand. And
hold tight, we've actually got one totally unprompted. We've got a Studio Underdog in this little box here. And talk about loomed hands. There we go. Some orange hands on that one.
There you go.
Beautiful. Oh, there we go.
I thought really nice. Again, it was just in the box, but I love that. And again, you can see the strap. It's just battered and dirty
really good.
and gross.
It's really good. Have you had many comments about watches from people generally? Because I must admit, seeing someone on the train, I would struggle if you were on the Northern Line at 7:30 and I was opposite you. And I don't make it my business speaking to a woman on the train at 7:15 on the line. In fact, I can't remember ever doing that. But if I saw that on your wrist, I would probably have to say something. Yeah. And immediately you'd be like, oh, okay, right, I'm about to be robbed.
No, I thought we were let's go.
But that's cool, no? I mean, have you ever, surely you must have had some people asking you about that.
So yeah, that one I have. And actually, strangely, the Studio Underdog is the only other one. But yeah, so that, actually quite recently, I was literally stood outside the tube waiting for a friend. And a guy and his friend comes up and he goes, do you feel someone staring at your wrist or whatever? I was like, no one ever stares at me, so it's got to be the watch. And then I was like, and then we caught eyes as he was coming up the stairs, and he was like, I just love your watch. I'm really sorry. And I was like, the Mojave. I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool.
That's cool.
And then
what was he wearing out of interest?
Do you know what? I didn't see it. No. I think he sort of felt a bit awkward, and then we both just went our own ways.
Earpod out. Cool. Sorry, what?
No, exactly that. I'm a perennial airpod wearer, which probably should be a bit more sociable, but that was one. Actually, and also in Geneva Airport, I was just, as you do, to waste time. And the guy working, I think it was at Rolex or something, he was like, "Oh, that's the X, Y, and Z." So that was cool. That actually does get attention. But again, what I've noticed is, you wear a Royal Oak, and I actually don't like the attention.
It's a different type of attention, isn't it? It's almost like, stick that on. I'm just curious to see it on your wrist, because with your skin tone as well, it does work. It's like, it's a nice balance. But it's a different type of attention, isn't it? I mean, this is more of a this feels to me almost like a personal statement, more than the idea of a Rolex at times, which can feel like an external statement. That's quite an interesting psychological thing.
Wrestling with those things. I have a Ludovic, again, is amazing. The strap's slightly long on me. Well, it annoys me, so I have a smaller one coming. I think it's actually there, but yeah, I love the watch. It has presence for sure. Amazing. There's no doubt that it's a thick watch. It has presence, but I don't. In fact, even my friends that don't like big watches, is the only one of my big watches. They're like, oh, actually, you know what? We like that. That's cool. There's something about the colour. The strap's also really cool. It is. It's underrated, like the
rubber fabric combo.
So good.
Yeah, I love a rubber strap. I have to say, titanium and rubber at the moment is my thing. I'm loving.
Let's go.
Super wearable. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to wearability, and that's probably a chat for another time. Is the ethical side of not the ethical, the deep moral dilemma at times, but then also comfort in buying is so important.
100%. And also a little side story. So I went to the IWC watchmaking class, and I took some guys from work who were also watch fans, and so they had the best time, and it was a really awesome experience. And then that night, Ludovic came in and was like, "Hey, you remember like 2 years ago, I said that there might be the chronograph coming in, and then we saw the release at Watch from Switzerland." He was like, ta-da! You just sort of pulled him out. And I was like, oh god, okay, can I call you tomorrow? I don't want to do this right now. But and I was like, I texted him. I was like, yes, I will pick it up tomorrow. And I went out for dinner that night. And the next day came to collect the watch, and also got a puppy on the same day because he's the same colour as the
double whammy, the double endorphin.
And I was like, I really was like, oh, I'm not sure if I should get this puppy. And Natalia at IWC was like, why? And then broke it down. And before the end of it, I was like, maybe I'll make his middle name Mojave, and then there's like a meaning for this watch, and it's basically, I'm not buying it for me.
It's for him.
I'm buying it for my firstborn.
You never buy a watch for yourself. It's always for the next generation anyway. No. What's his full name?
His first name is Edinburgh. We call him Eddie.
So Edinburgh. So Eddie Mojave.
Oh well, it's a bit embarrassing. We like quite a lot of friends have given him middle names. So I think he has 10 or like 8 or something like Steady, Stobart, Stella. There are so many. It's a bit outrageous.
So we'll have to get a photo of him to drop in on this so people.
Yeah, he's already.
You haven't got one of those with him wearing it. The paw.
I've got one of him as a puppy with it lay on him. Because that was the moment I was like, okay, cool. It's serendipity at this point.
Before we move on to the next one, I have to say there's a few people waiting for the Lake Tahoe 41 because that hasn't yet come.
Yep.
That's going to be a statement. I'm sure it'll come at some point. I haven't seen that.
I agree. That would be cool. I didn't think it made all of them 41. I think that'd be awesome.
The tribute. I remember the tribute was just, and I've seen that out and about on flights, which it's just wonderful. Always works.
Such a cool watch.
What's next then? What's next?
All right.
I noticed you've got a few pouches and a few things in there. There's.
This is like, I just
this is
grabbed
your storage.
the box.
Okay, yeah. This is how you keep it. This is how you keep it at home.
So.
Oh bloody hell! Here we go.
This is
the
the reason that we are even friends. The only reason you care to talk to me.
I know, but it looks. I have to say, I locked eyes with it across the room, and it really fit you. Number one, you rocked it beautifully, but it wore really well, and I hadn't actually seen one on the wrist of anyone. I did the filming. Yeah. Anyone who saw the promo video for the Ingenieur, I was one of the watchmakers examining the watch. So I had a split second of fame where the camera sort of locked in here, and I was wearing a white suit and no underwear. And I hadn't seen the watch out in the wild on any. I hadn't seen it on anyone's wrist. So that was the first time I'd seen it on anyone's wrist. And I think for me, it was the brushed finish, the bracelet,
so good, right.
and also the punch of the markers on the dial, the way the markers really jumped.
I didn't expect that because again, on the steel, it's polished, it's silver.
And also just in the hand.
Right.
Now, it's just mind-blowing how incredibly light it is.
It's so cool. I got that watch like a week before Watch of Switzerland. I ordered it, Watch of Switzerland, the year before. And then it came the week before.
So you're a bit all over the shop. So you go to Watch of Switzerland, and you're also at the boutique itself.
Yeah.
So you're putting heat on. You're putting heat everywhere you can.
I actually think
because these were very, very difficult to get.
Yeah.
And I understand the reason for that. Speaking to the team, was actually the production has been challenging. The bracelet particularly has been challenging to produce at the level they needed to be.
Exactly that. I confess, I think I am IWC's #1 most annoying customer. 100%. I should probably own that. We went to do the manufacturing trip in January. I remember being sat on the boat with Jason, who's a massive IWC collector. Poor everyone on that trip. We were sat there every 5 minutes. We said, "When's the titanium coming? When's the titanium coming?" So I think there was a lot of "Come on, please. We just want it. We just want this watch." And
then, of course, the pressure when you're a part of a group like IWC is. There's a few brands that jostle for their moment in the light, and I think Vacheron had the 222 the year before.
So good,
So everyone was thinking this year it's going to be the Ingenieur, and it was. And then this year we've had the Polo from Piaget. So I feel like Richemont is sort of giving us what we really want.
Yeah, that's very true.
And giving them some space to breathe.
For sure.
And I should say, I think a lot of those models, including this, have been done better than the original, and that's rare as well. From an ergonomic perspective, anyone who's ever worn the new one versus the old one, the first one was very charming, but didn't wear very well, and the same with the 222. So it's.
I've never actually tried the old 222, but I've heard great things about the new one. I mean, it's also beautiful.
The wearability, the design. I mean, because this was a ground up redesign in so many ways. This bracelet, and it's by itself.
100%. The bracelet is awesome. If you put on a 5711 or something like that, something where it's an integrated sports bracelet of a very expensive or reasonably expensive brand, it's competitive. I believe it's competitive.
Totally price point is just over 10, right? 12.9. Okay. Yeah.
The steel version is 10.5, but I'm going to throw it out there. Like, I really personally think that is the re-edition. That this one.
And also it's very, very different aesthetically to anything else out there.
Yep.
It wasn't done in titanium originally, so to me, fresh in that sense. We don't see the 5711s, we don't see the other steels, the Royal Oaks in titanium in that same way.
Yeah.
So it is a different price point, but
for sure.
But it stands alone as a piece of design.
Totally agree. And it's just
very thin.
So
very elegant. Stick it on him, so we can see it.
On the wrist, you really feel the difference. I think you feel the difference between the steel.
Because you've had the steel. You've still got the steel.
Yeah, it's still white dial.
And so you're someone who's got both.
Yeah.
But you are firmly, and I think you put up something recently asking whether, and I was jumped in on titanium.
Yeah.
But it is titanium. It just is. It's got to be titanium, right?
I don't know how much clearer to say. I just think it's miles apart. It almost blows the other ones out of the water. I think the dial and the aqua is really cool, but ultimately it's just another steel sports integrated sports bracelet. At a time when we're coming off the back of a really big hype, this kind of went, okay, so I'll take your integrated sports bracelet and I'm going to raise you one. Yeah. You might see the second only watch or something like that. You might see a titanium version of something like this, but they're going, no, we'll commercially produce it at a reasonable enough price for what you're getting. So yeah, they sort of went, you know what we'll do is we'll infuse some IWC history into it. I mean, the 1980 they made the Porsche design, which was the first Swiss watch it made in titanium. Not necessarily the first watch. I think that was in the 70s. But so they sort of took that for me, that bit of heritage. Same with this, like ceramic on the Da Vinci. They take that bit of history and go, right, okay, the first ceramic watch was a Da Vinci. Guess what? We can now put it on a chronograph. We can put it on this because we're so good at it. We do it better than anyone else. The execution on hard-to-use materials like ceramic, which shrinks, a third when you bake it, like titanium grade 5, which is super hard to mill. And
to polish, I hear. Apparently, if it's anything but grade 5 or type, it burns, apparently.
Actually, what it is?
Yeah, it sets up, it gets catches on fire, apparently, yeah.
Oh my God, we should go do a polishing course.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, and for me, these are, coming back to what I said around the pieces that didn't wear off. So I feel like I have a bit of IWC history.
Yes.
Without having the history yet, because that's a whole new rabbit hole I'm now entering of the sort of Blumlein pre-Richemont era.
We're in it together because Em and I got close to buying a platinum pilot, 36mm platinum pilot. Ben, if you're out there watching this,
breaks my heart.
It's coming. No, we're coming for you. We're coming.
We're getting on that train.
But the depth of IWC's back catalogue, its history is unlike any other, really. I mean, I know. We see a lot of brands leaning into that, but IWC's is special, and people don't know. You talk about the Porsche design link. There's so much there. There's so much there. Issued watches, compass watches. There's so much weird shit that you can dive into.
It's so true. It's like the first watch with a compass on it, right? Was
incredible. Incredible.
Like,
Absolutely incredible. Before we come to your final point here, which is your next watch. Now, I think I've got an idea of what it is you're hunting because we briefly touched on that. But you have to tell us a bit about this Reverso because Chelsea is a wonderful, wonderful brand. The watchmaker's watchmaker, the grand maison, if you will. What is this? And ostrich as well. I've got to celebrate that.
Yes.
I should bring out my ostrich. Can I bring out my ostrich at the same time as
100%.
Right, there's my ostrich on this Breitling quartz. It's a recent pickup. But immediately I saw it, I thought, what strap can I put on it?
That's a great strap.
And a strap, and to sort of echo the grey, I thought ostrich grey.
Looks so good.
Ostrich, totally underrated. Please let us know below if you think ostrich is underrated and you'd like to see more on ostrich. But sorry, I'm taking away from, this is a wonderfully aged ostrich.
Aged.
Where's this Reverso from?
So I bought that in...
This is your bonus round, by the way. You've got your 2 watch collection, but this is your bonus round.
Let's go. I bought that in 2019. It was my first job after university. It was my first ever bonus, and I bought this watch. I traded in my first ever watch, which was a Tag Heuer Monaco Caliber 6. I traded it in, and I put a bit of money towards it, and I bought this watch in 2019 because I always wanted a Reverso. It was, I remember being sort of like 16ish and getting into debates with people like that I could find like online or whatever, who were like, yeah, but AP was like, don't you understand, like. This JLC, without JLC, none of the big brands have the same history. Like if you remove this brand from the history of watchmaking, you can't talk about Patek, you can't talk about AP, the list goes on. They are, as you say, the watchmaker's watchmaker. And there was a guy I work with, I'm still really good friends with, I don't wear there anymore, but he's a really big Patek collector. He's trying to get a Jordan at the moment. And when I said I was going to buy this watch, I think he was, wearing a 5167 or something. And he looked at me and was like, and he's really hard to please, so hard to please. Like he's grumpy.
But he keeps you coming back.
I love him, but he's so grumpy. And you'll know exactly who he is when I said that. Anyway, I said I'm going to buy this. I showed him the picture. It was from Watchfinder. And he just looked at me and was like, yeah. Yes.
Did it come on that strap?
Yeah, it came on that strap from Watchfinder. So I picked it up.
It's a wonderful thing.
It's so good,
when you talk about design, you've got the design there. You've got, if you want history, you've got the history there.
All the things I
You've
like.
got everything. You've got it all. And
everything.
the big challenge, of course, is like most makers, they have an icon, and Jaeger's is that, and moving away from that isn't easy. But I love it, absolutely love it, and it suits you as well.
Thank you.
Rocked up
That's
with
very
it.
kind. It's my most worn. I mean, as you can tell, it's battered.
It's brilliant.
There are at least 10 pints of Guinness in the strap.
You've got an engraving on the back as well.
I do. Yeah.
What does that say?
So I only did this quite recently at the start, and JLC in Bond Street are actually incredible. It just says poco a poco, which just means little by little in Spanish. Which is amazing. I did that, sort of a little reminder.
Step by step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's something
awesome.
And most watch people or anyone who has something in their life that makes them a collector. I think there is something in collecting that is probably quite intense and passionate and consuming, which is probably 3 words my friends would use to describe me. So for me, I just have to, try and every now and again remember it's okay to be that way, but also, you build it all little by little.
And there's no finish line.
There's no
finish line.
It's a crushing thought, but it's also a beautiful one.
It is.
It doesn't have to end, and
totally
you can.
Agree.
And it's maybe a slight thing I've been going through recently as well is I think we are quite often told, you buy a watch, you have to keep it forever, and you can't sell this, you can't do that. And aside from flipping, which is I'm fully against, if you have something for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and you don't love it anymore, it's fine, because for me, it's evolution. The joy
of evolution and refinement. As we've touched on off camera here with all these things going on. That's half of the fun of the joy of collecting and watch making. We have to wrap up. Tell us your final watch that you're hunting before we do.
Oh, okay.
It's a rare bird, but there might be someone out there in Italy who might have one.
It's a very rare bird. I've been... So I was going to buy, as I mentioned, that I love the Da Vinci. I think it's really cool. And I've already mentioned the
original Da Vinci, not the reissue one a few years back that was a bit of a howler that we can all agree was a howler.
Yeah, so very, very fair. And I'm grateful that the watch world didn't go out there thinking, what? That's what she wants?
The original Da Vinci.
The original Da Vinci, again, in 86, I think it came out. And then I think it was also in 86, they produced it in white ceramic. That watch, I think there were 20 to 40 made, which obviously makes it incredibly rare. But I was going to buy, a couple of weeks ago, a yellow gold Da Vinci. And then I spoke to, it was actually Ben.
Did you message him?
Yeah, and I said, look, here's where I'm at. What do you think? And he sent me this voice note back. I'd never heard his voice before.
German.
He said something to me which really, and again, this is I said before, the people are what makes this thing so fun. Brilliant. Yeah. He basically was like, it's an amazing watch, but it's not the white ceramic. And you're very much at a point in your journey where it's not about collecting them all. It's not about saying like, I've got everything. It's about finding the things that you enjoy. And if that chase takes you 5 years, takes you 10 years, takes you a month, whatever, just stick to that. Because we all have that compulsion to just buy, or trade in. Maybe that's the new thing. And if you you find some principles.
And each one of those chips away at the grail or the next, right?
Exactly.
A small thing here, a small thing there, suddenly that's quite a big part of what 100%. Could be that one that you want.
100%. Yeah. You buy a couple of like slightly cheaper in the watch world watches and you can't do the next thing. And I struggle with restraint, if I'm honest. So for me, I've put a pause on buying things. I've got a few exceptions to the stuff that I've got on order. But I've put a pause and I want to just, for now, for the next couple of years,
cherish what you've got.
Cherish what I've got and chase the things that throughout the chase, this is just like a new thing that comes out, but it's not that, And the day that you get it, you know that you'll just drop everything. Yeah. Because that thing, that the ceramic white Da Vinci perpetual calendar, I'm not sure there's very much in the world of IWC that comes close to that. And I don't own a perpetual calendar, and I said this year was going to be the year. But unless that comes in... Right,
on that note, guys, I'm looking forward to hearing about who's got one available. I did see one, actually, at Watches Switzerland on Regent Street. They had a museum collection of vintage watches about 5-6 years ago now. Okay. And they had one in there. And I haven't sent you a photo yet. But I did handle it. I did get a shot of it. It is amazing. It is amazing. And it's so much of IWC, again, wrapped up in a watch. But we'll be back for when you do get it for the next episode. Guys, thank you as always for watching. I hope we haven't gone on too long. We haven't even talked about sport yet, which is a real shame. Because I know it's a passion of ours outside of watches, but that is for episode 2. Please let us know what your thoughts are, and catch you soon.